Welcome to the show.
There it is. I was like, "Wow, who's he looking at?" He's got the camera right there. It's perfect. See, that's what we need. Welcome, I'm Dylan Altman, and this is another episode of my new cooking show, Soul Stew, where we'll make simple, delicious food, share some laughter, and listen to some great music. Today, my guest is this man, GUTHRIE TRAPP, one of the finest guitar players and musicians in all of Nashville, Tennessee, a guy I've done a lot of gigs with over the years, and a good buddy of mine. Today, I'll be making a lemony shrimp risotto, kind of a marriage between Guthrie's Gulf Coast upbringing and my New Jersey Italian food childhood. He and I will also have a conversation about food and music, and I'll listen to him and his trio play some songs, and I'll even get up and play one with him. Let's do it. A little bit extra virgin olive oil. Add about a tablespoon of butter. You don't have to add butter, but as we know, everything is better with butter, and I mean, I always add butter. It kind of honors my mother, who was French. So then, pancetta, Italian bacon. You don't need to put this in, but I like adding this. It adds that combination of pork and shellfish go great together. Okay, you want to just start crisping up the pancetta. It doesn't have to crisp up that much. I'm not looking for that. I kind of like keeping it in there. It's just releasing all that fat, and what comes with the fat? Lots of flavor. So put in my shallots and garlic. All right, as you can see, it's all going pretty good. And then you want to add, like, I don't know, like about a cup of wine, white wine. And this is just like a Pinot Grigio. You don't want something overpowering with the flavor. I screwed up. I should not have put the wine in until after I put in the rice. So what you ideally want to do is after you have the shallots and pancetta and garlic going, you put in the rice and you toast it in the pan. So, you know, it's not going to be ideal, but I guarantee you it's still going to taste pretty damn great. So I got about a cup and a half of Carnaroli rice. So just a little bit more wine to do the deglazing. Again, it's going to cook out. All of that wine is going to cook out. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the stock here. And like I said, while that's deglazing, I'm going to put in that More Than Gourmet stock in there. It's just concentrated flavor, like a seafood stock.
Escuchen esta historia. Ahí.
Hello, I'm John Perry, and I look like Ernest Hemingway. Today, I'm going to read from one of his greatest works. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Cut! That's Dickens, man.
Little Jimmy Dickens said that?
Okay, so we're making risotto. You just start putting in these ladlefuls of the broth. Probably takes about 20 minutes. Usually that's a pretty good guess. If you want the rice to be softer, you just do it a little bit longer. But I think ideally we want something al dente with a little bit of bite to it. So you just stir here, and you want it when you're making risotto. I'm going to be camped out here for the next 20 minutes because you want to keep stirring the whole time. All right, so it's been about 5-6 minutes or so. As you can see, you keep adding the ladlefuls, and then it reduces. You want to keep your heat around medium. You don't want it to be a rapid boil, otherwise it's just going to reduce all of that stock, and you're just going to have rice that's kind of too al dente. You just add the ladlefuls in as they're required. As you can see, if you leave it alone, it just starts reducing and reducing, and that's what bulks up that rice. That's what's going to make it full, and that with the starch being released from the Carnaroli rice is going to make the creaminess. I'm going to start adding a little bit of salt, a bit of black pepper. All right, we're getting close. So I'm going to squeeze in some lemon right now. Just want to get some lemon juice. It's going to shoot all over the place. All right, so now we're going to add the shrimp right there, just regular. These are like 16 to 20s, which means that there's 16 to 20 of them to a pound. So we just want to let it cook a little bit longer here. You're going to see, you don't want to overcook them. You don't want to make them rubbery, but you just want them to cook. It should take about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're good to go. In the meantime, I'm going to add some zest. So added some extra lemon flavor by adding the zest. All right, now we're going to add off the heat some cheese. Like I said, may not be traditional, but this is how we do it. And you put in some parsley, add some color. Brother G, here we are, man.
Hey, man, happy to be here.
Seafood risotto. I got a little shrimp in there. I'm gonna top it with a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano, the undisputed king of cheeses.
Amazing.
A little bit for me and you. Got a salad with a homemade little dressing. It's basically just olive oil and a really good vinaigrette, my man.
Beautiful.
So anyway, man, what do you think of this? So I made this risotto's got like lemon juice and you know good shrimp in there, and I have some pancetta, which is Italian bacon, and then shallots and garlic. A lot of flavor going on, huh?
There is. It's really good.
Right on.
The shrimp is cooked perfectly.
You're the shrimp guy.
And the risotto is, it's perfect. It's not overcooked. It's not undercooked. It's right down.
Awesome.
Right down where you want it to be.
So when you were growing up, who was the food person in your house? Did your mom cook? Your dad cooked? Was there a grandma? Like, what was the thing that you guys would like if it was a holiday or Christmas or something? What was the food you looked forward to?
My grandmother, I'd come home from school and go to her house or whatever it was, and she would be cooking these amazing German dishes. And she had about, just off the top of my head, I'd say 5 or 6 different things that she rotated throughout the week. And at her house, there was ice cream, and there's cookies, and there's baked goods, and there's all this stuff. And my great-grandmother would make strudel and stuff like that, and she would have this paper thin. She would roll out knead dough, and it would be over a 6-foot table, and it'd be hanging over the edges, and it would be that thin, paper thin, and not a tear.
Would that be a sweet strudel or a savory one?
It could be either one.
It could be either one.
Yeah.
So she would do both.
She would do both, and then my grandmother, she would make fried pork chops, which sounds southern.
Like schnitzel.
Yeah, and so but it was more of a German thing. It wasn't a southern thing. So we would eat these pork chops, and it was amazing. And then she would do thin pancakes, where you're making these really thin crepes, and then you roll it up in cottage cheese with peaches and syrup on it. I mean, it was all the German take on these things. And so then, every New Year's, she would make, the tradition was everybody else is down there eating black-eyed peas and ham. Well, we didn't do that. She would make these giant pots, like 2 or 3 of them, huge pots, and she would take. This was my favorite thing ever, was beef and pork, meatballs with rice, making meatballs. Yeah. And then rolled in cabbage, so stuffed, what people would think they just call it stuffed cabbage, but it was a little different. Because you look up stuffed cabbage on the internet and it's all red sauce. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was meatballs wrapped in cabbage, and you put a layer down in the pot, and then you put a layer of sauerkraut and a little brown sugar and some other stuff on top of that. And you do a layer, and you layer that all the way up to the top, and you let that cook. And
man, that sounds like amazing food right there.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, probably not for everybody, but I loved it. My mom she's a great cook. Yeah. She can. I mean, the breakfast that she makes at my house when she's in town, she's a really good cook.
And what does she make?
We'll do a lot of assortment, and again, very health conscious. Yeah. I mean, it's she's got 3 or 4 ways that she'll do eggs, and then there's always a lot of fresh fruit, and we'll do some nice sourdough toast.
Yeah, so it's not like biscuits and gravy.
It's not biscuits and gravy. It's a very, very nice kind of.
More healthy.
There's a lot of love in it. There's a lot of love in that food, and there's a lot of crazy characters down there on the Gulf Coast, and a lot of transients that come in on the coast through boating, right? Yeah. And traveling. And so there was some friends of theirs, and they ended up with this Peruvian recipe of this dip, and my mom's famous for it, or all around the country. It's a very simple recipe, but it's some of the most addictive dip I've ever had in my life. And here's what it is. And my mom is the queen of it, and it's called feta dip.
Oh, like feta cheese.
That's all it's called. It's nothing fancy, but I'm going to tell you something right now. You cannot stop eating this. I got some in my refrigerator right now.
Yeah, feta cheese.
So you get this high quality feta cheese, and you get a blender or a food processor, I guess, or whatever you need, and it's garlic, feta cheese, cumin, and olive oil.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
And that's it. And you put that in the blender, and you blend it up, and you make this dip, and it is fucking amazing.
So now when you came up in, how old were you when you started playing?
I was around 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
And I
And
started
you didn't
messing-
start off with you were playing like a bluegrass and like mandolin and acoustic flat picking.
Yeah, because Jerry always had all these instruments around, and so I would, he's still alive. He's in North Carolina, but I started messing around on the harmonica,
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
and thank God I put that down pretty quick. I could only play in one key.
Maybe that's why I didn't know it.
Right, yeah, not many people do, and what's funny is everybody thinks that I started on the mandolin because they associate small instrument with being young. So I've figured a few of these things out over the years, but I really started playing guitar, and then bluegrass, and then when they would set the Les Pauls and stuff down at band practice, with my uncle and his buddies, I would, they'd be smoking weed and drinking somewhere for an hour before they played again, and I'd go pick up the guitar and turn up the amp, and I'd be noodling around. So it was kind of an interesting way to grow up. There was no top 40 in the house. I didn't learn how to play music playing along to Beatles and Led Zeppelin records like most people. I never gravitated towards rock music because I was raised in an environment where there was a lot of great songs and good singing and good playing, and it was all about playing clean and having a good tone and good songs and nice pleasing music. So I didn't get so I don't know how to play rock and roll guitar. You'll never catch me like banging.
I've noticed that.
I just don't do it.
But what I find interesting about what you just said is people may not know this, but you're good friends with and play a lot of shows with John Oates. Did you even listen to Hall & Oates at all when you were growing up?
I didn't even know who they were.
You didn't even know who they were, right?
No, I didn't even know who they were.
When did you were down here probably before you figured it out. We're up here, I guess, for you.
Yeah, and it really wasn't that long ago. I mean, I had lunch with Oates yesterday. He's great. We're dear friends.
Man, you guys are tight. I mean, you do that. It's like the duo gigs all the time.
Really close friends, and he's become one of my best friends. And so, when I was in Telluride, Colorado, playing with Jerry Douglas, I used to work with Jerry Douglas, the dobro player, and for years and years, and we played Telluride every year. So I was out there. This was, God, we've been saying 15 years. It's probably 17 years ago at this point. And me and John, I was on one end of the stage, and John was on the other, and Sam Bush was doing the closing song of the show, of the festival. There's like 30 people on stage. I took a guitar solo. Everybody soloed, and then Oates took a solo. And when I got done with that, we got done with that song, I walked off the stage, and Oates was standing there, and he goes, "Man, I don't know who you are, but," he goes, "I want you to have this guitar."
Are you serious?
I swear to God. And so I looked at him and I said, "Well, I don't know who you are, but I'm not taking your guitar." And Sam and Jerry were standing there, and they're going, "Take the guitar." And I'm like, "Who is this guy?" I didn't know.
So you didn't know John Oates was?
I had no clue who this guy was. And so, then he goes, "Hey man, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I went, "Man, I'm here for the next couple of days." He goes, "Well, come over to the condo and we'll play a little bit." And then I realized he loves like Doc Watson and Mississippi John Hurt and all this great old Delta blues music. And we had this, me and Jerry, Uncle Jerry, used to play Deep River Blues. Oates, one of Deep River Blues, one of his first songs that he learned or something. And so there was this really unique parallel there, and I had no idea about this pop rock, legendary pop rock band with all those songs. And so, because my family didn't listen to that music, the most popular thing that we listened to was like Van Morrison or Jackson Browne or Bob Dylan. I mean, those were like, to me, those were like,
because that was like pop music.
That was like commercial music to me, I said, man, I mean, we're in the laser focused, hypersensitive, concentrated area of a lot of talented people, a lot of hustle going on. There's a lot of motivated people. There's a lot of successful people. The pressure's on. If you're going to be here and doing it, you better be doing it or be doing something, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so once you have been like us and you've experienced all that and you've made a living and you've come out on the other side of it, okay, then you kind of go, man, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I just want to have some fun. I want to travel. I want to have some good food. The pressure's off. It's not about the perfect pedal and the fuck. Who gives a shit? Because we know now at this point, none of that matters.
It doesn't matter.
You've been through a lot of stuff. I've been through, I don't have family or kids or anything, but we've all been through whatever our own personal ups and downs are. And you just kind of finally just go, man, fuck that bullshit. We're going to just have some fun. We want to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And my buddy says, don't let the perfect get in the way of the pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's about the process.
Man, yeah, let's have
it's
some
about
fun.
doing it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Had my buddies, had my work, had my weekends. I was running, there was nothing I was needing. And then you came.